But for now, let's get rolling on episode. Oh shit, what was it? 24?
I think 23.
23.
I think it's episode 23.
I just looked too at the last episode we uploaded, and I can't remember what number it was.
Because I remember 2 weeks ago was legal.
This is 24. We are recording number 24. Yep.
Oh, wow. Time flies when you're.
Oh, we're having a blast.
Yes.
Having a blast. Anyways, so another thing I need to figure out is how to get these uploaded same day. But regardless, I need to, now that we're getting better on the editing portion, as long I hate being a week behind, so here we are, we're 2 days removed from Christmas and last week, and this won't post until after New Year's, so it gets a little weird. I'd like to be able to be a little bit more timely on that, but I'm not sure how to do it, because I definitely don't have the time later on a Monday to do the editing and posting. So
could we record on a Sunday and
like a Sunday night
and then post on like a Tuesday?
Well, then we got to change the name of the podcast.
True. I mean, okay. All right. Well, I'm free for a while, so just let me know when your schedule matches up.
See, now's the easy time. It's when we get back into when we're open.
Oh yeah.
I want to try to figure it out now so that we're ready to roll and we don't have to try to refigure it out again. But anyways, episode 24, we are rocking and rolling. It is the week after Christmas, the Monday after Christmas. Well, actually, sorry, the Tuesday after Christmas.
Yeah.
Get started on this. Skippy messaged me yesterday. No, 2 days ago, Sunday.
Yeah.
Told me he picked up a job, not doing food.
Not doing food.
Hopping in a plow truck, and he had to be in a plow truck at 3:30 in the morning yesterday morning.
Yes.
Didn't want to do a recording from the driver's seat of a plow truck. So
would have been good content. Probably would have been good content.
How many people did you bury and how many mailboxes did you hit?
Well, we're just gonna get right into that. Okay. So it started with my fall cleanup person. He did a great job and asked. I heard word that he was looking for plow guys. So he runs his own business, Great Lakes Landscaping and Snow Removal. Give him a little plug. And it's just him. He has clients. Just the way he manages his stuff is, I could probably learn a lot from him. But he said, "Yep, looking for 3 guys." I said, "I'm in." I've plowed once back probably 20 years ago, and he's like, "Don't worry, we'll run you through the basics. It's not hard. Anybody can do it." I'm like, oh, well, that makes me feel better, I guess. So 2-3 days ago, when we were supposed to get Snowmageddon, that ended up being a dusting of about 2 inches plus a lot of wind. Oh yes, I forgot. You got like feet. you guys over there on the west side is not always the best side. You got a lot of feet. We got inches. It's always bigger over there. So I showed up. Huge. So I showed up at 3 o'clock at his house, went through some stuff, and he's like, "Here's the 5 places I need you to hit." Like, all right. So it kind of sends you out and did my little basics on how to run a plow. It's basically a joystick. Are you yelling at somebody? Okay. It's a joystick, and it's easier than I thought it was going to be. I was in a plow 13 hours on Christmas Eve, and tell Angela thank you.
It was Ingrid.
Oh, okay. And so 13 hours from 3 to 4 basically on Christmas
that long
Eve.
to do 4 houses?
No, because then I went back, so we didn't know it's not houses, it's all commercial, it's parking lots. Yeah, I didn't trust myself around houses yet. So there was a little bit, some miscommunications, but I'm probably more, because it was my first time doing it, more thorough. So in terms of how it looked when I was done, I give myself like a 9 out of 10, but maybe my efficiency might be at like a 6. yeah, so we did more stuff, and then he called back and said, "Hey, let's go out." I actually texted him on Christmas. I said, "Hey, it looks like we got fresh snow. It's just me and the wife." It was kind of a weird Christmas, and he's like, "No, enjoy your holiday. Just be at my house tomorrow," which was yesterday, Monday. And I sent you the message. Really can't. Would you record on Tuesday instead? You said yes. And then another 13 hours. This time I did more stuff like residentials, and I went out and salted everything. And it was, it's a lot. I have more respect for plow guys, salt guys. We have a guy over here, Kevin LaRock, a barbecue guy. That's his winter job, and I've got a lot of respect for these guys now. And it might not look like a hard job, but I guess the more you do it, probably the easier it is.
I think it's
Commercial
more of
lot.
a shitty hours type of.
Yeah. Oh, I came home, I ate some pizza and went to bed and woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning. So it
Like,
was,
a lot of our essential infrastructure people, the calendar and clock don't matter.
yeah,
When
it
when
was,
the job needs to get done is when it needs to get done, and it doesn't matter if it's Christmas morning or whatever. You gotta
yeah,
go. So
it's, like I said, I have a lot more respect for these guys on how much they have to do it. And really it doesn't shut down for anybody. So, I figured he would want to do stuff on Christmas because, nothing's open. So
yeah.
you get in and out, but luckily I increased my efficiency with my accounts. I was done with the 5 or 6 parking lots I had to do in 2.5 hours. And the time before it was almost 5. So, and then the time before Christmas Eve. So these trucks don't have what I call Burt bars, which are running boards. So some of these,
Well, it took you an hour to get in then.
shut up. Some of these accounts require you to use an app to verify that you've been there, verify what it looked like before, and then what it looked like after. And you have to take pictures. So, sorry, my computer's deciding to make noises. And I had my wallet in my back pocket, and it fell out. And I didn't notice it was out until basically I was almost done. And Christmas miracle, my wife texted me or called me and said, "Hey, there's two troopers or two sheriff's department that just dropped by." And of course, my wife's thinking that I'm dying because two sheriff's departments show up on her doorstep.
Yeah, that's never good.
No, and she's like, "Oh my God, is he okay?" It's like, "Well, we've this wallet was turned into us." Of course, my wife thinks the worst.
What?
Anyway, so I was told a nice family turned my wallet. All the cash was still in it. So
Is he
Christmas.
okay? Well, we don't know, but we found his wallet.
Yeah, we found his wallet. So he might be in a snowbank somewhere.
Yeah.
So that was the extent of my excitement on Friday. So then into my week, I had a catering gig on the Thursday before that. I will never cook that many briskets ever again. They wanted enough brisket for like 75 people, and then they also did not want to run out. So they're like, cook what you think will not run out. I'm like, okay. So I'll ask you. Well, before we tell you how many,
I'm starting to do the math in my head right now. Yeah.
Yep. So, and this is a shop with like 75 guys. It's a welding shop or some sort of machinery shop.
Mhm.
The side was my soon to be infamous or soon to be famous garlic and onion and bacon green beans. So I did 2 full pans of green beans, and I cooked a bunch of briskies. So how much do you think you would have cooked?
So just for a normal, I mean, if I'm figuring 1/3 of a pound per person.
Oh, they want it sliced.
Huh?
They want it sliced.
Okay, but I'm still gonna do the same math, more or less. More or less. Slice it fairly thin, and then I'm gonna cut the brisket down the middle. so the slices aren't as long.
Mhm.
Because what I have found is it doesn't matter the size of the scoop or the tongs or whatever they're using. People are less likely to go back for multiple helpings. You know
Correct.
what I'm saying? Because then it looks like they're being pigs more. So they'll usually, if whatever they get in a tong, they're going to do, they're not going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, trick
They'll
we've
go up-
noticed, which is
they'll
why
go
we
up-
do smaller spoons for catering.
Yes, they'll go up for seconds, but they won't take more right then and there.
Right. So, so I'm still gonna figure about the same amount. Maybe go to a half a pound. So now I'm looking at probably 35 pounds of cooked brisket, which should be enough. Which would be about, I would do 70 pounds of raw. So I would probably go, depending on the cases at Costco or whatever, a full case of brisket. But I would probably go at least 70, maybe 75 to 80 pounds. And that's figuring a half a pound of brisket a person. Which is probably too much, and that's gonna give them leftovers. And I mean, especially if they're only doing a single protein, right?
Yes, I believe there was only our food there.
Yeah. So
And it was a catering gig that was given to me by a friend, and I will never do that again, because it was his friend, and I was basically, he was the intermediary trying to, his control freak nature really kicked in. Anyway, so I cooked 7. I actually
yeah, probably just a little. You're probably closer to like what, 90 pounds then?
it was 3 full pans and 1 half pan.
Okay.
Basically,
Anything. What was your pre-cook weight?
each case was 72 pounds. So I cooked 1.5 cases. So I was about, call it 90 to 100
So
pounds,
100 pounds, yeah.
give or take.
All right.
They were fatty as hell though. And I didn't pre-trim. I just cooked them. And
All
then
right.
and then trimmed afterwards. But I cooked them on the outlaw.
That's a lot that's a lot on an outlaw.
It was because I could
Unless
only,
you're on a BFO.
because I could only fit a 5.
Yeah.
I had two, and then 1 facing this way. So I had to use the Rectech for other 2. I finished them in the outlaw. So yeah, so basically I didn't receive any calls from friends or him saying he ran out. So let's hope he didn't run out. I don't know. I didn't ask. He paid me, and that's all I cared about. And then Christmas Eve had a catering gig when it was, 6 degrees out, on the outlaw, because it cooks wings awesome. So I had a full pan of wings, full pan of mac, half pan of cheesy taters, and a half pan of pork. Dropped it off at this nice lady's house. Their ethnicity is Spanish, and husband didn't speak a lick of English. And he came out to get the food, and I'm like, I'll bring it to you. It's fine. So then he walks his little butt back in there and takes his shoes off, and I'm just, standing there with food in a box. And then I'm like, yep. She's like, well, looks like people aren't showing up for another hour. I'm like, well, I have racks if you need them, sternos and stuff. No, do I just put it? You want me to just put it in the oven? I'm like, well, take it out of the box. And yes, just put your oven on warm and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And she sent me a text yesterday. She said the food was amazing. Thank you, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Awesome.
So that was my week. And I don't even want to cater anymore. I was gonna focus on catering and start Facebook ads with catering, and it's like,
that sucks in the winter, doesn't it?
oh, it even using a pellet cooker for something still sucks in the winter. My garage is right underneath my bedroom, and if I open that thing, it gets cold quick. Even though it's insulated, it still gets cold quick.
Yeah.
And my furnace is right there too, and it's like, yeah, I had multiple layers on, and it was still blistering cold.
If I could ever get to the point where I was either in a brick and mortar, or if I had room to do like a smokehouse, like a smoke shack.
Yes.
With an enclosed heated that had a smoker in it that I could do it. Tim's
Yeah.
Belly Deli does that in the winters, and that's what he uses. I think he uses it all year round.
Dale Lockwood from Daly's Barbecue or Hickory Barbecue and Grill in Brighton actually had a building built behind his house and had it done as a commercial kitchen. So I walked through it one time. I mean, he's got walk-ins. But yeah, I thought that was absolutely amazing. And I mean, he's been doing it for a long time. So
that was my ideal situation when we were looking for houses. We saw a couple that had some pole buildings in them.
yeah.
Perfect. This would be awesome. Plenty of space. Just make it a commercial kitchen, call it good. And yeah. And then, yeah, if for whatever reason, we were too far out in the middle of nowhere or whatever, but, yeah.
Have you ever seen Jay Craig's little barn
No.
behind his house? So
No.
I went to a class there. He's got an Outlaw inside underneath a 6-foot hood system and runs the Outlaw in a heated barn, and the smoke goes out. You know, it's flipping crazy, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it works. I mean, it's a way to do it.
Yeah. Don't know how legal it is, but you know, it's Mentone, Indiana.
It's fire code. It's only a problem if you have to file an insurance claim.
It's only a problem when they find out. Anyway, what did you do?
Oh, let's see. We only did Wednesday last week. Went in pretty light. We did a Spectrum Health office. She let us know ahead of time that she wasn't sure what vacation schedules look like or how heavy the staff would be that week. I mean, 2 days before Christmas, and so we weren't expecting a ton. It was an okay day. We didn't blow any doors off or anything. But we were ahead of most of the cold front on Wednesday. Weather was pretty good. Roads were clear.
Yeah.
All in all, it wasn't bad. It was chilly and windy, but yeah, all in all, not bad. It was an okay day, and we didn't have to toss too much food. I sent Pam home with a whole bunch of food. Had soup for dinner that night and called it good. Thursday. So blizzard warning. We had the blizzard warning for Elliot and everybody that's listening across however many states. Hope you're all doing okay. I knew that this was not the typical flashy news clickbait storm, because you can always tell. The projections kept getting worse.
Depends on what part of Michigan you're from, because it was a clickbait storm for us. Every time it said we were getting 10 to 12 inches. Every newscast, every website, everything was 10 to 12 inches. Sorry, go ahead.
Our West Michigan meteorologists, for as much crap as they get, they're pretty good on how the lake affects most things.
Yeah.
I believe them over the Weather Channel. Like, the Weather Channel was stupid. I mean, they probably had it right for you guys. But they were saying, I think the last forecast I saw for us on the Weather Channel was like 6 to 8 total. But then on Wednesday, someone spotted 2 Weather Channel people in Holland, Michigan. So they bought it to the model.
Yeah.
Everybody was excited that it wasn't the guy that they usually have standing outside during the hurricanes. So the deal couldn't be too bad. It's a good storm, but it's not like that poor guy's storm. So, but yeah, Thursday it started snowing. I don't know, about 1 o'clock, we started seeing some flurries. Like, oh, here we go. Just as a joke.
Right.
I ran my daughter down to Kalamazoo to see a friend. She was going to spend the night there against my better judgment. And by the time I got back, we had 2.5 inches on the ground already. So I went out and shoveled that night. By the time it was 7 o'clock, the bottom had dropped out of the temperature. The wind had kicked in. Every time I shoveled probably 10 times over the course of the 3 days. Never once could I shovel the entire driveway because it was so damn cold out. But by the time I got my turnaround in my driveway cleared yesterday, and this was after the ground still isn't frozen, so it's still melting snow and compacting it all. Yeah. There was at least a foot of compacted, wet, heavy snow in my turnaround, the whole thing. My neighbors, who have been gone since Wednesday,
because they were smart, got out of Dodge.
Well, they have a 4-foot snowdrift in front of their garage door.
Oh, well.
they're not getting in. So unfortunately, we've talked about it before, that we really need to exchange phone numbers with them. Because they have remote control over their garage door. I would have snowblowed it for them and then used it to snowblow mine throughout the weekend. And they could have come home to a clear driveway. So maybe they're not coming home until next week or this weekend, and it'll all be gone anyways, because it's going to be 50 and rain for 3 days.
Yeah, we're having a beach party out here.
So yeah, for you guys that only got 2 inches, no big deal. There's going to be a lot of water on the ground over here.
Yeah. So what really hit us was, so when I went out on Christmas Eve, what hit was we had light rain before that. That froze the roads. So even with a plow, I still went sliding through plow and 4-wheel drive. 4-wheel drive doesn't matter to the ice. Yeah, I went sliding through many an intersection, and even just to getting out to his house, a main drag. Now there were salt trucks out there, but it wasn't doing anything because the wind was just blowing everything. I mean, we weren't even being salted over here. Yeah,
it was too cold.
For some reason, our little town, the salt trucks were out, but they were only out on main roads. Like they were not out on anything else, just main roads.
Yeah.
I saw one turn around in front of me instead of going further down the main road. Like they just were just trying to get like the overpass of, underneath the highway or above the highway. No, the wind was the coldest. It was the worst part, because it's when I plowed, it's like you couldn't even see where I did it because the snowdrifts were already there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, do I go back and, waste an hour in this little place, or hopefully I can come back and do it again. But luckily yesterday when we were salting, the temperature was high enough to where the salt was actually working.
Yeah.
And it cleared stuff pretty quickly.
Yeah. Ottawa County finally, they had to put their front plows on over the weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we're at Grand Rapids is at their 3rd snowiest winter so far.
Really?
Or 3rd snowiest December so far. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We're like 20 inches above average.
Yeah, I'm expecting more throughout the next couple months, but
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
I think
awful.
The joys of running a plow is I can run a plow in my own driveway.
Yeah. So did you put a plow on your truck then? Or are you using his truck? Okay.
Using his truck.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not screwing with my suspension.
I thought about it. I was like, I could, like, how many houses would I have to do?
So,
but
he pays us cash,
$20
an hour. So, 520 bucks over basically a 24-hour shift almost.
Yeah.
Not bad. I'm okay with that.
But like if I was able to get like 50 residential houses on like a prepaid, good for the winter. How much do you charge for that? But then again, I would have been gone Christmas morning. I would have been gone all Christmas weekend.
Yeah.
Out plowing 50 driveways nonstop, just doing a rotation.
So what I was thinking was, in my little neighborhood, there's probably 50 houses, is offering, I wouldn't go far, but offering them, like, put a plow in my truck because it has the plow package already, and do it for, $25 or something like that.
Yeah.
And just stay in my neighborhood. That way it's in out. I learned how to plow stuff. And then I'm watching the 2 guys yesterday. I watched the 2 guys not do the same stuff I did. Like these plows have little side scoops where they'll plow everything. It's not like a V plow, but it'll plow everything in front of you and not leave a trail. Yeah. Or you can, make a straight blade on one side and curl the other way, so it goes one way. I'm watching these 2 guys, they just put them both out and they're just pushing. I'm like, you're leaving everything on the sides. And I'm like, is this why it's taking you so damn long to do this one part of it? Sorry, that was a rant.
So I don't know if you know this, there's a plow service like Uber.
Yeah.
Where it's on demand. So over here it's called Plow and Mow. Okay. Are you sure it's not Plow and Mow and it's like an escort service?
When I said I was plowing my neighbors, somebody looked at me like, excuse me, what are you doing, neighbors?
But she's like, we should call and just have it done. I said, well, our driveway's not marked because we just shovel it,
Yeah.
and you can't tell where the edges are. And I have
No.
sprinklers on the edge of my driveway. It's like,
Yeah.
the last thing I want is someone to go off, you know. I said, it's just not worth it.
Well,
have to-
he tells his residential clients to mark your driveway.
Well, yeah, everybody, and you should.
And I went to 4 houses and 1 driveway was marked.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I could see where somebody already did it before me.
Mhm.
So it made it a little bit easier, but I would rather do parking lots all day long than residential houses.
Yeah. And she's like, well, that's their problem. It's like, no, that'll be our problem in the spring.
Especially when
We're
you're
replacing sprinkler heads.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At our cost.
Yeah. And he's like, if you get up a little bit of grass on the side, I just come by in the when all the snow's melting and drop some grass seed and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But some people are Karens. Like this lady, she had to be done or had to be plowed by 7 a.m. because she had to leave. And I'm like, okay. So I get there and it's a 2-car driveway. Both cars are on the left, right? Both cars are over here. So I have enough room to drop a blade and come backwards and then push it somewhere.
Yep.
And shovel her walkway. And so I did it and she's like, okay, that's fine. I'm happy. He sent some other guy or the other guy to do it. And she complained, was absolutely bitching and complaining because her cars are in her driveway and you can't do anything with that. So she complained to him. So I went back and checked it out. I dropped a blade and probably this much got off the driveway, like on the side because he might have not went over far enough.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you really? Are you kidding me? Like this is that? I'm like, wow, I could deal with that.
Yeah.
But you get what you get and hope for the best.
That's right.
Anyway, enough about plowing. Plowing's fun. It was kind of fun.
Title of this episode, the one where Skippy plowed his neighbors.
Love plowing my neighbors. Except all my neighbors are like 82.
1-800-PLOW mound.
I still have a cough. Don't make me laugh.
Oh. So yeah, that's our barbecue, our food truck week. Not a whole lot going on clearly with the holiday season. We're not doing anything this week. Well, we're not open at all this week.
You're not doing anything. So you're not doing anything New Year's Eve? You won't set up for a New Year's Eve? You don't like those late night shifts, do you?
I don't.
Yeah. I don't
No, I don't. Not at all.
And
we haven't had a whole ton of luck with these special holidays at our normal locations. And it's probably, we just needed better spots, but anybody that's doing anything for New Year's Eve probably already, most of them already have their set trucks year in and year out. Patty Matters used to be the only truck that would go year round. I think they've scooped up a lot of those premier locations. So I know that this year they're going to be downtown Grand Rapids for the ball drop, I think. So it's just it's not appealing to me. I'm sure the money's okay.
It can be. We did it last year for our first, obviously it was our first time, but we had a caterer, like a wedding reception that we were doing. And then from the wedding reception, we just went downtown and COVID canceled everything. So no fireworks displays, no ball drop, no nothing. So the people that were having this wedding reception actually went to the city and bought all the fireworks for their wedding reception.
Nice. So
it was a little bit over, but the local there's a nightclub there that has a party, and a food truck friend of mine is going to go down there, and he's of the right color, so he'll probably do well. The right shade. He knows what I'm talking about if he listens to this. I pick on him all the time. It happened. I'm sorry, it happens. I can't shy away from it. It happens. We were down there both together. He got that crowd and I got the other crowd. It's for some reason it happens like that.
Well, it's because, and we've had it happen at our truck. We've actually gotten called from some African American gentleman after they came, and they said that's the best barbecue I've had from a white boy.
Yeah, best compliment you could ever get.
Well, yeah, but we've also had people walk up, look at us, and then walk away.
Walk away. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I get asked by the same African American gentleman anytime I go down there, do you have ribs? And I'm like, no, but I have pork and brisket. They're like, well, I'm not going to buy from you until you have ribs because I want to try your ribs. I'm like, but I have food here now. Like, damn it.
Well,
but then he went down to the other guy and got a burger. I mean, it's just it's how it is. Anyway, so we were the only ones down there last time, and it was a good time. It was a fun time. We had a couple lesbians hit on my wife, say that she was cute and wanted her to come out and dance with them. I'm like, if they were hotter, maybe, but not so much.
So yeah, this week for me is just finishing up the admin stuff.
Secretarial.
Yeah, because I haven't touched it. I didn't have time last week between getting stuff ready for Christmas and I was wrapping presents until midnight on the 23rd, and then until 1 o'clock on the 24th. So
Procrastinator.
I am not usually that person for Christmas.
Did you go out and buy something Christmas related on Christmas Eve?
Yeah. Sure did, and the stores were empty.
You know that you can,
because everybody was hunkered down for a blizzard.
Do you know that you can buy from Amazon and they'll wrap it for you?
Yes, I did know that, but
because I did that one year and they sent little bags and it was all wrapped. I'm like, oh boy, my wife's gonna kill me.
Yeah, but Prime is not Prime right now. Especially as the closer you get to Christmas, it's harder to get stuff in the 2-day window or the 1-day window. And then they pulled their trucks over here on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah. They pulled all their drivers. So there was no Amazon deliveries on the 23rd of December or the 24th. So
isn't that nice?
Yeah, UPS was out, FedEx was out. We didn't even have postal service on the 23rd.
Wow.
Or the 24th. So yeah.
We definitely had postal service. But
it was seriously, it was, I mean, for as much as everybody was bitching about it not being a blizzard, you guys have the benefit of being shielded from it because of us.
Be bigger by you guys, yeah.
Yeah. So we weren't nearly as cold, and neither were you guys as the rest of the country, which is good. And that's the benefit of the Great Lakes. Warms up the air a little bit, but then it warms up the air so that we get more precipitation dropped on us.
Yeah.
Which is how the lake effect works. So it warms up the air, causes more precipitation, and then it dumps on us. And it was, when it dropped, it was all that light fluffy snow like you guys had, but we had feet of it and blowing. So there was definitely roads that were closed because of snow drifts. If you didn't have a 4-wheel drive vehicle, you shouldn't have been out on the car and out on the road. So you shouldn't have been out anyways, but I managed okay. Made it home alive. I had the closest call I've ever had on a road in the winter to being involved in a pileup. So outside of that, yeah, no problem. But yeah, this week just secretarial work, getting everything caught up for the year, closing the books on the year, and next week's episode will be our reveal of how we did for the year, I think, if that sounds good to you, Skippy.
I think we can work with something.
Okay. Well, to be clear, why Skippy was plowing his neighbors.
Then you realize who knows who.
Yeah.
Now, so change the subject to back to our stuff. So on our Facebook page, MMFT guys.
Yep.
Right. When we posted yesterday's episode, we actually got a lot of comments on it.
We did.
And one of them was from a guy in Florida. I had to read it like 3 times to actually understand what he was saying. And oh, hold on to my video. Sorry. Basically, he said in Florida, his busy season is from October to June, and he doesn't want to work any. Let me see if I quote unquote MF in hot summers.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Like we only talk about Michigan weather. We don't really talk about other states.
Which is awesome that we're getting, and this is awesome that we get people from other parts of the country, and that's kind of what we were looking for.
Yeah.
That is an interesting scenario, but I get it. I mean, you have all the tourist traffic in Florida over the winter.
Yeah.
All the snowbirds coming down. It's not something that I ever would have thought of, but it makes 100% sense. I mean, it's not that hot down there in the summer.
Hey, the first time I ever went to Florida was July 4th weekend. I was dumb. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of water down there, so you get a lot of humidity.
Yes.
But it's not like you're at 110 with humidity. You know, it's not like you're Vegas in the summer where it's 115. It's 90s with humidity.
Yeah.
It's not that much hotter down there in the summer than it is in Michigan. Really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the humidity that kicks everybody's ass.
Yeah.
It's not a quote unquote Arizona dry heat.
And you know what? It is miserable in the trailer, in my trailer in August when it's 95 degrees out and 100% humidity. It's awful. It sucks. You're wet from the time you walk on to the time you get off of it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of days where we bring multiple shirts so we can change our shirt halfway through the day.
Yeah.
Because you just sweat that much. Yeah, it's not fun.
It's just, it was, when I saw that comment, it was just interesting. I'm like, I had to read it 3 times to figure out. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that like our winter, if you think about it, is like his summer. You know, both of us don't want to be in the trailer around the same time. Yeah. I think our summer is probably a little bit less dreadful than his summer, but it's still, we don't want to cook in the winter. He doesn't want to cook in the summer.
Yeah. It was not the new episode post. It was
correct. It was
my smoker picture.
Yeah. That shows a 3-foot snow drift off the back of your trailer.
Yeah.
How's your is your unit, your air conditioning /
my rooftop unit? It turned itself off on Friday.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, and so my trailer sits east-west.
Yeah.
The vents on that thing are off to the west, so the wind blowing through hits it perfectly for it to freeze up. Which is why I went out and checked it, multiple times a day just to make sure everything was staying warm. So yeah, just kick that back. It turned it off because it still tries to run.
Yeah.
So I just turned the power off on it, bringing in my second little space heater just to keep things warm.
Yeah.
But I mean, the ambient temperature according to that was at 34 degrees. But the other space heater that I had pointed at my sinks, I mean, the sinks were warm.
Yeah.
To the touch. So there was no threat of really anything freezing. But yeah, it's about 50 degrees in there right now.
Gotcha.
Last I checked. So yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit of monitoring but it's okay. And that brings, I mean, glad you brought that up. It's the other comment that we had about water freezing in the winter in Michigan. Here's what I think you need to have in order to be able to run through the winter. My trailer always has power on it.
Yes.
So it's plugged in at my house. And then when we go out, so it's only not plugged in for half an hour at a time. So yeah, the heater's running in it. There's heat running in it at some point or at some way all the time, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So as long as you do that, you're not gonna have time for water to freeze anywhere.
Yeah.
So
and we both keep a heater underneath our sink cabinet.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely the first thing that's going to probably freeze is your water pump. And you don't want that to freeze because it takes a long time. If your water tank is full, it takes a while for that whole thing to freeze.
Yeah.
You might have the top of it freeze, but it takes a long time for, you can tell with the lakes and things like that. It takes a long time for deep water to freeze.
Yeah, and everything is inside, so you're shielded a little bit from the harsher wind, the wind chills and all that. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely notice how much cooler it is inside of all of my cabinets, especially my floor cabinets. It's probably a 15-degree difference. If you were to
Yeah,
open one of those up and reach in there, it's definitely cooler just because of the seals and everything. I mean, air gets in there. So,
and that actually brings something up too. Is so one thing I've noticed about my new trailer, which was used but new to me, is I had a porch trailer back in 2016, 2017, and that I didn't build myself, but I had it built per my specs. And the one thing I got, because it is Michigan, was I got insulated walls and an insulated ceiling. I don't think this trailer, without me taking the walls off, is insulated. Um, and that definitely will suck out any heat that you have a lot faster and make any heating elements work that much harder. So if you're going to build a trailer, build a truck, or whatever the case may be, look at having walls insulated. Maybe even look at a lot of them are doing winter packages or harsh climate or something like that, where you can even have your floor insulated. Um, it might, if you're in a climate where you want to run all winter time and it's real winter time, definitely look at that option, because it's not, to do insulation, it wasn't too expensive from what I remember.
yeah.
I know it was just you're paying per foot, and all it is foam board that they put in between the outside exterior walls and your interior walls.
And I'm pretty sure Southern Dimensions, where I got my trailer from, insulates all of their trailers.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't only help during the winter, it'll help keep your air conditioned air in too.
Yeah.
Not that it does a whole lot of good.
If you have it.
If you're getting a trailer built and it's, say I have 16 feet of interior space. If you can afford to do it, do 2 air conditioning units. If you can afford to do it and have the space available on your panel to power it, do
Yeah.
2. Especially if you're doing barbecue, or if you got like those griddles and everything, they give off so much heat, and it's not something you think about in a normal restaurant because there's so much open space. They're moving so much more air through those.
Yeah.
Food trucks get hot, guys. Yeah, they get really, really hot.
Yeah, they do. And so the difference between, so I have a rooftop unit that has a heat strip, and I turn the knob, but I don't have, Josh, you have basically it's a thermostat controlled unit. I don't have that. So I have like air high, air low, fan, and then I don't even have high heat, I have low heat.
Yeah.
And it definitely, in this anything below freezing will not keep up. For me, won't keep up. So it's helped that have a little space heater.
Yeah, mine alone won't keep up either. I mean, it's set to 64.
Yeah.
But unless I have that other space heater running, it won't stay anywhere near there.
You had mentioned power at your house.
Yeah.
When you built this house, I believe you had that added. No,
I added it.
you added it. Okay.
Yeah, I ran it.
So I had a hot tub that was running a 30 amp service. So I decided to change out the plug and put an RV plug in there, new to this year. And in the wintertime, so here's one thing I'm noticing, and I don't know if you want to talk electric bills or not. So last month, my electric bill and gas bill was $500. And I looked at it, and it's basically, now everything in my house, with the exception of my furnace and my hot water heater, is electric.
Mhm.
And that means because I have 2 kitchens, because like the downstairs is like an apartment almost, 2 refrigerators, which don't draw a lot. Actually, I have 3 refrigerators. They don't draw a lot of power, but they're still a refrigerator. Washer, dryer, those are all electric. And I noticed of the $500 that $250 was gas and $250 was electric. I'm wondering if, of my trailer, like when you go out in the morning, you turn your electric warmer on, and that draws juice right away.
Mhm.
And I've had to have it on a couple times for the caterings, but it's like, is this just going to kill it? Is this like, is my electric bill always going to be this high because of my choice to, plug
Yes.
in the trailer? And
Yes. It pulls it. I mean, all that equipment pulls a lot of power, and it's,
I know, but you don't really see it when you run your generator, right? You don't see that power draw. You see your gas gauge go down or something, whether you have dual fuel or not.
it costs me $20 a day to run my generators.
Yeah, because you're going 6-7 hours. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
So, and then, so the other, so 7 hours, so you got another 17 hours that it's plugged in. Or 16 hours if we half an hour each way. So 16 hours plugged in. So yeah, it's gonna cost me another $10 a day.
Yeah.
So really, when you look at it that way, the time that it's plugged into your house costs you far less per hour than it does
True.
the time that you're running off your generators.
Yeah. I guess
You're getting a bargain.
going into this, I didn't really realize how much more to have a food truck at your house versus having like a commissary, how much more expense, not really, probably expense isn't the right word, but more things to do. Like I got another trash barrel. It's like $60 every 2 months or something like that. And,
Yep.
and another,
I got 6.
I know, I saw your house is like, you might as well just get a little small dumpster.
I can't.
I know.
I tried. They wouldn't give me one.
Really?
Yeah, there's not enough room for the truck to be able to turn around.
That makes sense.
So they can't do it, and they won't back. So they're not allowed to back out onto a road, I guess. So they would. So I had to do 6 roadside dumpsters.
And you have to take them out. Do you fill all 6 every week?
During the summer, yeah, usually 5. So that's food truck trash and home trash. We're usually 5.
Do you ask your places if they have a dumpster you can dump? Okay, I do too.
Yeah, sometimes if there's like one that's visible to us, we're like, hey, do you mind if we throw a bag of trash in there?
So
We have a couple regular locations that are fine with it, and we will dump trash there every time.
So there's another thing is when you set up at new places or when you set up at places, don't just assume it's okay to use their dumpster. Ask. Be respectful of because they obviously have to pay for that dumpster. So even though you might think you guys are best friends and they're doing you a favor, you're doing them a favor too, and just ask, because you'll find that there are food trucks out there that will not they just do it, and they get a bad rap just for doing it.
Yeah, we had that at one of the locations where they shared a dumpster with the neighbors, and they just didn't go through a ton of trash. So their dumpster didn't get dumped every week. They got dumped once a month, maybe.
Yeah.
So we threw a bag of trash in there, thinking it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. And it sat there for.
Well, yeah. And the next time we went, they're like, "Can you guys not dump your trash in there anymore?" I was like, "Oh, no problem." Like, yeah, it was pretty rancid. Like they called to have a special dump done. So.
Yeah, just be respectful of your surroundings, especially if you're a new food truck. Be respectful of your surroundings, where you can dump, where you can't. Sorry,
Always dump in the bathroom.
Always dump in a bathroom. Yes.
So we have, speaking of that, we have 2 new constructions going in next to us with porta johns, and they tipped over in the wind during the blizzard. So I'm sure those are lovely smelling piles of frozen poop.
So so got another thing for you.
Okay.
I just got a message from a friend of mine saying I'm going to be smoking my first brisket on his pellet cooker tomorrow. Any advice? So
set the bar low.
Cook it till it's done.
Yeah.
So it brings me up to, you've been doing this food truck thing. You're going on your 4th year. Do you get clients and friends still ask you how to cook something?
Mm-hmm.
Like advice on how to cook something?
Yeah.
Do you give them the food truck way or your personal way? Like how you would, like if it was, a meal for your family versus cooking for the masses?
For me, there's not a whole lot of difference, other than wrapping versus not wrapping. So I'll kind of give them both and ask them what
Yeah.
kind of time frame they're looking to want to cook for.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's always like keep it very simple. You know, you can inject, but you don't need to inject. Yeah, so I mean, I am more than willing to help anybody out. I've had a lot of people ask for a mac and cheese recipe, and I tell them no. Or I will give them the recipe for the batch for 10 pounds of dry noodle and tell them to do the math. You know,
Makes sense. No, I understand.
because the math is important. And I still have yet to be able to get a batch of 1 pound of noodles with that recipe to turn out the way it does for the truck. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is about the magic of the
Yep.
10 pounds, that ratio of everything, but I try to scale it by a tenth and it just never turns out the same for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I will tell people what our quote unquote secret ingredient is, and they always look at me like I'm got shit coming out of my eyes. They're like, really? I'm like, yep, it works. I said, that's how I can call it 5 cheese. And it's Parmesan garlic wing sauce, by the way, in case anybody wants to know.
Yeah.
Just enough of a drizzle.
But yeah, that, and I mean, people ask us about rubs and stuff all the time. What do we use? And
Mhm.
I'll pull the whole lineup of 999 barbecue superstore stuff, and I'll
Yeah.
show them everything. I don't want people to have a bad experience when they're doing it themselves.
Yeah.
Not going to take business away from me, because no one wants to spend 12 hours cooking a pork butt for a sandwich. You know,
Yeah.
it's going to be more of a special occasion for them and type of thing. So I want them to have the best experience. I don't want anybody to have bad barbecue.
Something that they may not do all the time that we do all the time.
Right.
That we actually look forward to not doing for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. Sure, they might cater a family function instead of having us do it, but they're probably only going to do it once.
Yeah.
When they realize how much work it is and how much they don't get to enjoy themselves doing something like that. So yeah, I'm fine with letting anybody know pretty much anything.
When you do drop off caterings,
Mhm.
Yeah, I assume you give people sauce, correct?
Yeah.
Do you give them the bottle that it might come in, like the small bottles, or do you give them a squeeze bottle?
I give them a gallon.
Well, I assume it's not for for 20 people, you're going to give somebody a gallon of sauce.
I know. So if it's that small of an amount, what we've been doing lately is doing the sauce cups. And we'll do 2 to a person and leave that.
See, I bought the bottle, the little bottles, and just give a little bottle out.
They're too yeah, cost wise. You know, who knows? It might be the same as me doing individual sauce cups, but
just remember, simplicity is genius.
I know, and that's why we just do a regular gallon. So we'll do a bowl. We'll get the plastic bowls from GFS, the black square ones. So we'll fill that with a plastic ladle in it, and then leave the bottle for them to have any extra if they need to fill it. Okay. Most often we've noticed that with doing the bowl of sauce, that it rarely needs to get refilled unless we are doing a large number of like over 150 people.
Yeah.
So I'll probably start doing half gallons for drop-offs like that. For like 100 people or less, we'll leave a half gallon with them. But I don't mind leaving the extra sauce as almost like a thank you, type of thing. Like, here's your sauce. It's a $20 gallon of sauce, $23 gallon of sauce, or whatever. It's rolled into the price of the catering. So
yeah, I think I leave the small bottles because it's easier for me to, I guess, gauge how much sauce they're probably going to use. I don't have to pour it into a squeeze bottle. I don't have to, I guess, worry about any more dishes other than just that bottle of sauce.
Yeah.
Plus they can see the label of the sauce too. So
yeah.
I like the people that you go through what you're giving them, and then you show up with everything that you talked about, and they seem astonished by everything that you got or you gave them, because you told them you were like this Christmas Eve catering. I gave a bottle of sauce. And I said, yeah. She's like, a whole bottle? I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's what you ordered.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't believe you gave me a bottle. And she's just astonished. I'm like, listen, people like naked wings, but they also like sauced wings. I don't know. Just use it. Throw it in your fridge. I mean, figure it out. And they're like, I don't. She's like, I didn't ask you about buns. I'm like, well, it's a good thing I brought you some. And I had extra cornbread. So I gave her, she said she was only doing it for like 20. For all this, she ordered a full pan of wings, the half pan of pork, which is like 5 pounds, give or take, a full pan of mac, and a half pan of cheesy taters for 15 people. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you have big relatives that are coming. And they haven't eaten in a week. So I'm hoping that was Christmas presents for her relatives, was to have leftover food.
Yeah, that's a lot of food. Yeah,
That's hefty.
I turned down a lot of those sized this year for last week.
Yeah,
just because it's not. Yeah,
I wasn't thrilled when I was cooking it, but I was thrilled when I dropped it off.
yeah,
And how happy they were and things like that. I guess that's what gets me, is the whole how happy they are, how they didn't tip.
yeah.
It is what it is.
But for me, it's one thing if I'm already cooking every day and it's just throwing some extra wings on the smoker or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I didn't take any of those catering jobs for the 23rd. Yeah, because then then you're dealing with potential refunds or whatever, either they cancel or whatever, or I'm out there in the blizzard trying to do wings.
I'm going to keep your money, but we're going to reschedule your party. No,
Yeah.
I think it's sorry to get on this catering kick. Catering is, for me, is, I'd love to hear from our listeners. For me, catering is tough. I'm always, when it comes to, I would rather them order, like, I guess, quote unquote, a la carte than, per person price. Cause I'm still like, if they order something by the pan, I know how much I'm putting in a pan. And if they order it like per person, they got 100 people.
You want them to worry about whether or not there's enough food for their number.
Absolutely. I want them to be on the, I want their skin in the game as much as mine. But I would rather do that and then just give general recommendations. Hey, a full pan will feed 40 to 60 people, depending on whether you have, church mice coming or football players, and it's up to them to order it. So I know there are caterers out there that will do it where you'll always try to sell more than, maybe what your pan provides, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
I think she ordered a lot of food for 15 people, but I don't know the 15 people that are coming.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it was on them. But catering for me is still tough. Really?
You're on laptops, babe. I'll be right back.
Yep. I'm grabbing a drink. Let's get one.
The bright side, they stayed refrigerated. Good job.
I'm back yet.
Hey, fold your laundry, will you?
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, my doorbell's connected to all my Google speakers in the house, and we have one in every room. So
Oh,
you know when someone comes.
well, good to know.
Yeah.
I stopped at a residential house yesterday and I heard a voice just magically appear when I opened the window. What the fuck is that? Then I listened to it again. Hello. You are currently being recorded. Thank you. Like,
Thank you.
anyways, if any of our listeners want to drop a comment about maybe what your catering pitfalls are, or maybe a funny catering story that we can share, that's funny. That's good times.
Yeah, it's and we do the per person a la carte. We don't prepackage anything. We don't have any 2 meats, 1 side for a certain price and then add $1 per person for brisket. They get a price sheet. I send them a price sheet. They get to pick their whole menu. They know what the price per person per whatever item it is, and they can essentially fit
What's the
whatever they
difference?
want into their.
What's the difference between, I guess, your price sheet, because I assume brisket's more expensive than pork, versus somebody saying, here's the base, and if you want brisket, it's a couple dollars more. What's the difference?
For me, it feels more transparent, I guess. Like I'm not hiding the brisket price, you know. I think some people do it so to reduce sticker shock almost. You say something's $1 more a person, you don't really compute it, but you see $14 a person and like, oh shit, I don't want that. Yeah, and then so you get prepackaged stuff is 2 meats, 3 sides, whatever. But then you get the follow-up questions. Well, what if I want to add on another meat? What is that price? I think the way I do it, it eliminates a lot of conversation that doesn't need to be there. And it probably eliminates the ability for me to upsell, but people know what they want,
So you feel that the way you do it takes any guesswork out of it?
Yeah. It's straightforward. It's easy. The only time we ever get into real conversation with questions is so if I order 2 meats for 100 people, am I getting 100 people's worth of meat? Are you giving me brisket for 100 people and pork for 100 people? Or we know that not everybody's going to have both, so can we do pork for 75, brisket for 50? So that's how some of those questions come in, and that's fine. And I've had people do that with every item, where every item is for a different number of people, even their sides. So
that's like
fine.
It's kind of like my a la carte, where people control their own destiny, I guess.
Yeah. If you have a set budget that you want to get into, I'm going to let you pick what you want. I'm not going to try to shoehorn you in. You have full control over your budget.
So if somebody comes up to you and says, I want your food truck menu for our wedding, do you have a price for you to provide your food truck menu?
Yeah. So that we're running the tab for their people, and with a minimum amount. So for a wedding, for us to show up with the food truck and have the full menu available, we're at 2,200, and that's going to be the only thing we do that day.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to load up a little heavier for a wedding just to make sure we're good.
Yeah.
But just like with a drop-off catering, anything that we don't reuse, they keep. So any meat that's left over, we leave it with them.
Yeah. And let them know that too.
I do every time.
Because they need a place to put it. Sometimes they do. Sometimes I've had people bring an extra cooler.
Yeah.
And a dry cooler, and you can just set it in there with a couple towels or something of that nature. But
right. And for some people, that's a selling point.
Yeah.
Because now we've had people order extra because of it. I get some extra pork then but yeah, absolutely.
I had a good phone call from one of our venues yesterday, and it's a straight up venue. It's a bar, but it's also a wedding venue, and they have a couple other buildings. It's probably 40, 50 acres worth of venue place. Anyway, so he called me yesterday and said that because of how professional we are when we're there, serving the bar guests, he's going to put us on his like preferred caterers list. I'm like, well, I appreciate that. So we were talking about menu and base prices, things like that, to have the actual food truck out there.
Mhm.
And so we were getting into that, and then he said something about oh shit, lost my train of thought. Oh, like, do you do your food truck menu? And I said, well, we can do the food truck menu, but we also have catering menu too. And that's where having your own website is probably a good idea too, if you're just starting out in this food truck race. Because I just told them the website, told them where to go, and everything's right there. But yeah, that was a great. That's probably one of the best calls I've received, because it's like people are starting to realize that whenever we go to a place, we try to leave it better than we came.
Yep.
And so far that was really cool. I like receiving phone calls like that.
Yeah, I mean, treat your guests, your hosts right, and then treat their patrons and your patrons the best you can when you're there, and it'll pay dividends for a long time.
Make friends with for weddings. Make friends with the wedding planner. Make sure you all exchange cards.
Yeah.
For people who are just thinking of people that have been doing this for a while, probably already know this stuff, but make friends with the bar people if they're an outside company. It's always good to know people in a pinch.
Mhm.
If the wedding venue calls you because you're the caterer and say, hey, have you happened to work with a mobile bar service or something like that, you'll be able to tell them, yeah, absolutely, I have, here you go.
Yeah.
So it's always good to explore your relationships.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna switch gears real quick, and then we'll wrap it up.
I don't have more plowing stories, sorry.
Oh.
I did wake my wife up yesterday at 5:00 because I dropped the plow in our driveway, and she said it was quite loud.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. So as we're New Year's coming up in just a couple days,
Oh boy.
resolution time. I don't want to do resolutions for our trucks, but instead let's do goals, and we're going to break it down for month by month. So for January, what is your business goal for January? What are you hoping to accomplish to further move it forward for January?
Well, glad you brought this up.
It's almost like we planned it.
My January and February are gonna be the same things. So I gotta combine both months.
Okay.
So we just talked about catering. I want to print out almost like office catering packages and physically drop them off, and to try to increase, not necessarily, obviously I love the business, but I also want people to know who I am and what we do if they've never been to our truck. They can see that, hey, we have another barbecue place in town. This is what they offer. Their prices are competitive. Let's try them out. And hopefully my goal, because I know they're probably not going to be 100 200 person parties, but it'll increase awareness to where maybe I am in the area, which will then increase business to the food truck at different events.
Right. So
just increase awareness through in-person, increase awareness by being in person and being in front of people. So actually thinking about joining the Chamber of Commerce.
in which city?
My local one, Jackson.
Okay. That'll be a good conversation for another another day. Joining Chamber of Commerce in cities that you
Frequent.
serve. Because it's been brought up to us a couple times.
I apologize. When I said I lost my train of thought, the part I told them about our catering is if they choose to book us, we'll waive our non-existent travel fee. Sorry.
Very nice of you, Skippy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have it if we go more than 50 miles, we do have a travel fee. But this is less than 50 miles, but we can waive any type of travel fees to
Do you have a travel fee listed anywhere?
We say delivery or that our location is within like an hour from our house or hour from our home base, and there's no dollars listed per se. That comes up later depending on where, because last year I took a lot of caterings not knowing where the venue was until like a couple weeks ahead of time. So for those venues I would have taken a travel fee, but I didn't because I wasn't smart enough to ask. Now I ask. Anyway, sorry. Going back to New Year's stuff.
All right. So for me, for a goal for January, and I'm going to go a little bit more specific as far as booking goes.
Well, that was pretty specific.
It's a good, yeah. My goal is to book 15,000 in catered jobs in January.
Okay. I don't think I've had that. Well, yeah, I've surpassed that in catering. Okay.
So yeah, we've done, the last 2 months have been pretty equal, or the last 2 years, I'm sorry. So we've been about 50 each year. So far this year, I've already booked 10 for next year. So I'm hoping for 15. We're going to push hard on.
I'm close to you. I'm close to you on how much I've booked already.
For next year? Good.
I think I'm at 75.
Yeah. It's good to get a good jump on it.
I swear, if every day was like June 10th, I'd be a freaking millionaire.
every year, there's 1 or 2 dates that just everybody wants for whatever reason. They're arbitrary dates. Like what is it about that date that everybody's drawn to for whatever reason? It's weird. But yeah, there's always 2, 1 or 2 every year. Yeah, like if I had 7 trucks, I'd still be turning stuff down.
Yeah. I think when Tiki Sam, and thanks again for being on our podcast last week. It was awesome. I honestly can't remember if he went over this, but he does a morning or an early afternoon and a late afternoon booking for those hours. And one question I didn't ask is, well, what happens if a wedding is at like 1 o'clock or is in between those bookings? Do you take the day off, or do you take the rest of the day off, or do you just do that, and or do you say you can only do it during this time? I like the idea of that because it really doesn't kind of shut you down for a day. You can plan around these bookings.
Yeah.
So if you do your 10 or 15,000 in new bookings, how many events do you think that is?
That's almost impossible.
Average.
So let's see. Carry the 1.
West Side Matt.
I'd say it's probably about 12.
Yeah. Okay.
This time of year, we're gonna push open houses pretty hard.
Yeah.
And then you throw in a wedding here or there, and you're there. We've been in conversation with Aetna, if you're familiar with them, ETNA. They're doing 6 company parties this spring, and they reached out to us to do all of them.
Awesome.
Yeah, most of them are about 120 people. Their Grand Rapids office is 500, and she wanted service off the truck within an hour. I said, well, that's not going to happen for that one. I said, here's what we can do. But she's now she's talking about doing 2 trucks for each of the smaller ones, even.
Yeah.
Okay, I said our minimum's still our minimum, and she's fine with that. And then we're gonna just do a buffet for the 500 people. Because she asked if we could handle that in a buffet. So I was like, depending on the menu,
Yeah.
I can't do 3 proteins for 500 people. If you want to stick to 1 or 2, like
Yeah.
pork
Having
and
those
chicken.
having those conversations with that type of client is, yeah, we had somebody that we didn't end up doing a party for last year, reach out and said, hey, we have 500 people and they need to be fed within an hour. And
Yeah,
I'm like, it's having a food truck there doing it, not an option. We can have
Yeah.
a couple food trucks there and I'll help you with that. And I think the price was too high for them, even though they're a major food company.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you're easy $6,000.
Yeah,
So,
easily.
yeah. But
But it's like, make sure to feed enough people within that time frame. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, we got sidetracked again.
no, you're good. So yeah, I plan on, my goal is 15. I'm gonna hit it pretty hard, promotion wise.
How are you going to do that? Like, what I know you said promotion, and if we need to stop this and start again next time because it's
No, we're good. Well, we got some cutting out to do, but and we can always break this up into 2 if we have to. But yeah, we'll wrap this up right after this here. So it'll be a lot of Facebook ads, hitting community groups that we're members of. Yeah, that'll be primarily what it is. I mean, you can't, depending on the rules of whatever group Facebook groups there are, there's only so much you can do, but yeah, so we're members. Members of at least decent ones that we can promote somewhat in them. So then you're just targeting. Is that you?
I had my phone plugged into my computer to charge it.
So I won't change the amount of which I spend on ads, but they will be more directly targeted. So there'll be a higher dollar in certain cities than what I would receive. So it'll be not a widespread ad across the whole west side of Michigan. It'll be a targeted ad for the same amount of money. Are you rolling your eyes at my dogs?
No, that's my dog. They must be trying to save me from another Amazon or delivery driver.
Did they hear my dogs by chance?
No.
Oh.
One's outside already. The other one's fat and laying in bed and just trying to bark because she doesn't know what she's barking at.
So yeah, so a more direct target on those ads, the same amount of money, just a higher dollar amount spent in a couple key areas that we typically do well with open houses. So Caledonia, Hudsonville, Newaygo. And then we'll book. So the number of events that we'll do per day is all based on number of people at those events. So it's more of a head count cap for us for open houses than a number of events. So I think the most we've done is 5 in a day.
Jeez.
And that was hard. And they were all drop offs, but it's a lot of coordination and a lot of running. It was a stressful day.
I can imagine, yeah.
But yeah, they were all like 75 people, 50 to 75 people. So it's like, I'm not going to make enough money off of 3 of them.
Do you have more people? I guess, what's the percentage of people that ask you for the food truck to be at an event versus a buffet drop off kind of thing?
It's a small percentage for the food truck. For personal parties, it's a really small percentage.
So like open houses, stuff like that, you don't get a lot of requests for food
Not
truck?
a lot, no.
See, last year,
year,
majority of what I did was food truck related. Like they wanted the food truck on there on
Yeah.
the premise. And that wasn't just weddings. I mean, I think most of the open houses I did I think I only had 1 drop off out of the 7 or 8 that I did. So I for me, it's like 90% food truck, 10% drop off.
Oh, yeah, it's probably the other way for us. I think we did 3 or 4 open houses, maybe, that were off the food truck.
Yeah.
And for weddings, most of our weddings are too big for that kind of thing. And that's what we tell them.
Yeah.
If they get above 75, I'm letting them know that we're not going to be able to serve them quickly enough. You know, like if they have an hour set aside for dinner, the 60 to 70th person's still going to be in line,
Yeah.
probably. So,
Even if your ticket times are less than a minute,
yeah, I mean, it takes time for people to walk through and get food. So, yeah, I'm sure I've talked people out of full truck before.
And and that's, I guess, so for I think for us, it's we did it because that's what we got asked to do. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
like I said, we get asked more food truck related stuff. I'll make my New Year's thing, like what you're saying, a little bit more specific. The goal is to book one office party out of the venues that I visit.
Okay.
In town office party that hasn't booked with me in the past. One.
Score. What?
Yeah, I mean,
one's good. Yeah.
I mean, if I can, and it won't be, I mean, if I can cater it and drop it off, I think that's good. It's all about, I'm still trying to build the brand.
Yeah.
Because my wife did something really smart, but really stupid for me for Christmas. She'll listen to this. So she got me a t-shirt for Christmas.
Mhm.
And I really, really like the logo on it, like how she did it. And
Chasing money or chasing dreams?
No, it actually goes better on like apparel. This logo goes way better on apparel than what I'm using now.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, it's got me thinking about changing my logo, which is all over my trailer now. But do you think do companies have dual logos?
No,
I don't know any. So it's like,
it's a rebrand. It's not we're going to run multiple logos.
yeah, that's where I was going with it.
Unless you're doing diet Skippies like Diet Coke.
No, I want to put a sticker on it that says this trailer is no place for a diet, but I haven't done that yet. But no, I just the way, because I've been trying to figure out how to do hats, and I can't do hats because our logo, for people who don't know, is a license plate, and it just does not look good on a hat for some strange
Mine
reason.
either. There's too much text and too small that the embroidery just doesn't look right ever.
Yeah,
So
it freaking sucks. Anyway, and it's like with my logo, the smaller you go, so it's green and white basically, and with a kind of a small black border around it. The smaller the logo, the more green it gets. The bigger the logo, the darker green it gets. It's flipping weird. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, one party, that's the goal in those 2 months. But to visit,
1 month.
well, I mean, I combined February. I can't combine February.
No.
Okay, so
1 month,
January,
come on, you can do it.
1 month. Okay, 1 month, that's fine. I want to visit, since I'm pretty much off and I'm doing nothing at home because I did all my home projects.
See, look at all the time you got.
Oh boy. God, I hope she's not listening to this. Would be to visit at least 3 businesses per day. Yeah. That's what I want.
Yeah. Is that 7 days a week?
No, it'd probably be like 3 or 4.
Okay.
It's not like I also, okay. Do we want to talk about February yet?
No.
Oh,
We'll talk about February at the end of January.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know how you wanted to do that. All right.
No, let's make this attainable and accountable.
So what's
clear set goals.
I'm only at 1550 Facebook followers, by the way.
15. Well, you stopped your ads, you said, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to see the bottom row of my icons here. Oh, I don't even know where I'm at. Let's see where. What the fuck? What the fuckity fuck? Insights. Patience. audience. I am at 9787. So just another 213 to go. And then while we're here real quick, we're at 280 for MMFT guys on Facebook. We're up to 12 subscribers on YouTube. Whoop, whoop. But with that, we've had the highest number of hours of watch time in the last week that we've had on YouTube. So that's a bonus. So
wow, that one new subscriber
watched everything.
Watch everything.
Or 2 episodes, one or the other. So yeah, it's we're starting to hang out in the top 100 now of Apple Podcasts for food category. We dropped off the rankings at one point in time.
Yes, if you're going to watch it, please watch it on Apple.
Yeah. Apple Podcast. It seems to be the only spot that I can find us ranked currently that they have a category for food. So, but yeah, there's probably 400 to 500 food category podcasts listed. So, as I got bored and was digging on my phone. So yeah, we're top 100 consistently right now. So help keep us there.
Absolutely.
Or, just listen to wherever you want to listen to. I'm just happy that you guys are listening. So we're going to wrap that up now. I hope everybody has a great new year, or had a great new year. I guess by the time this posts, it'll be what are you eating?
Nothing.
I guess by the time it's posted, it'll be the second of January. So
Well, you have time. We could probably get it popped this week, right?
Yeah, lots of time. I have 4 kids worth of presents of open or empty boxes in my house right now that we still haven't gotten cleaned up. So that's the rest of my morning.
Before we go, I did see a meme that said we have 364 days till Christmas and people have their damn decorations up already.
I usually leave mine up until New Year. So I'll take them down usually on the 1st, but they're slowly starting to come down now as I'm. I saw a picture of my office from when the month after we moved in. Sadly, it looks pretty much the same. With boxes. Now it has all the Christmas empty totes in it. And I'm like, I need this decluttered as quickly as possible.
Well, your OCD is really kicking in, isn't it?
Yeah, you know how houses have catch-alls. These have nice sliding doors on the office. There's a couch in here that when we clean the rest of the house, everything just kind of gets moved into here. So, yeah.
Yeah, our whole house is a catch-all.
Yeah, right now it's feeling that way. So, but with Christmas break and extra gifts that were opened and stuff, it's very catchy. Anyways, have a new year. Hope everybody had a good Christmas and a good new year. We will talk to you guys all soon. Keep listening. MMFT guys, Facebook and YouTube. Sweet Rex Barbecue for me on Facebook, and PB&J's of Michigan. There's a PB&J's Barbecue of Michigan. Damn it.
PB&J's BBQ of Michigan.
Yes, for Facebook. And if you haven't gone over to Tiki Sam's Pizza and checked his Facebook out, do that, please. Just search in the Facebook app. Show him some love. Let's see if we can get him to 10,000 before Bert gets to 2,000. Solid eye roll from Bert. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon. Right back.
Love you guys.
Where is no, stop. I don't know how to stop recording.
Is there a button?